evening and welcome to this edition of News Leader on 6. I'm Jim Fuller. In tonight's news, the local Daughters of the American Revolution held a special ceremony for Vietnam veterans on Tuesday at Veterans Memorial Park. The Sportsmen and Businessmen's Charitable Organization gave a donation to Tullahoma City Schools, and Thunder Radio is sponsoring a political forum next week. We'll have these stories and more on tonight's News Leader on 6.
The Tullahoma Farmers Market Earth Day celebration. Live music and giveaways, composters, rain barrels, grocery bags, recycling bins, and more. Learn about area green organizations. Meet adoptable dogs from the Tullahoma Animal Shelter. Enjoy produce, meats, and more from local farmers. Monday, April 18th, 3 to 7 at South Jackson Civic Center.
I am tremendously blessed to be living at Parkview and very happy to be part of a loving and caring community.
Best thing you can say is this really a great place to live. That's all there is to it, no doubt about that.
It's your home. You just do what you would if you were at your private home. You know, we love it. It's great.
It's just like having a whole neighborhood around you, and it's fun.
It's just a great place to live.
Welcome back. Tullahoma City Schools has received a $2,000 donation from the Sportsmen and Businessmen's Charitable Organization. For the last 4 years, the Sportsmen and Businessmen has donated funds to assist in providing for the needs of the Tullahoma City school students and their families. Those funds are used to serve district students by purchasing clothes, food, mattresses, graduation gowns, and even transportation costs. Dr. Katrine Stevens said, quote, "I cannot thank the Sportsmen and Businessmen Charitable Organization enough for its wonderful and continued contributions to Tullahoma City schools. These charitable donations allow us to help meet specific needs of our students," end quote. Since the 1980s, the Sportsmen's Organization has aided and supported those in need. During that period, a small group of local business leaders wanted to help the many families in Coffee County who needed aid. Currently, hundreds of supporters share the reward of giving to others through the organization. Due to the commitment of volunteers and the monetary contributions, the Sportsmen's Organization has now extended into neighboring counties. TCS Coordinated School Health Director Gina Bumbelow said, quote, "Our continued partnership with SBCO allows Tullahoma City Schools to serve our students better and remove learning and social development barriers. The impact of the organization's generosity is ongoing and leads to a brighter future of our students and community," end quote. In other local news, an effort to better inform listeners and the Coffee County electorate at large, Thunder Radio, WMSR, will host a political forum on April the 7th, just before early voting begins, for the May 3rd Coffee County primary. This continues an election year tradition for Thunder Radio, WMSR, that dates back to 2012. The forum will run from 6 until 8:30 p.m. on Thursday, April the 7th. The public is welcome to attend the event, which will be held at the church at 117. That's located just off the square in downtown Manchester at 117 East 4th Street. For those who are unable to attend, the forum will be broadcast live on Thunder Radio and replayed later on Charter Channel 193. There is no charge to attend. The schedule will be from 6 to 6:22. Circuit Court Judge Part 2 candidates Eric Birch and Bobby Carter. From 6:27 to 6:49, General Sessions Judge Part 2 Gerald Ewell and Garth Seagroves. From 6:54 to 7:16, District Attorney General candidates Craig Northcott, Felicia Walkup. From 7:21 to 7:43, Circuit Court Clerk candidates Jenny Anthony and Josh Morris. From 7:48 to 8:05, Road Superintendent candidates, that's Benton Bartlett and Scott Hansard. From 8:10 to 8:32, Coffee County Sheriff's candidates, that's Chad Parton and Aletha Ron. Candidates will be provided up to 2 minutes for opening statements and 2 minutes to answer questions. Closing statements of 1 minute will be given if time allows. Early voting is April the 13th through the April 28th, and Election Day is on May the 3rd. We'll be right back after these messages.
I got a tour and I saw all the things and I was so excited about them. And she took me to the movie theater and it had red chairs. This is a done deal and I like it.
We have so many activities here that you just can't keep up with them all. We have exercise, we have coloring, we have crafts.
It's charming, it's attractive, it's very comfortable. It was one of the best decisions of my life.
Friends, it's time for a change. Hello, I'm Scott Hansard, Republican candidate for Coffee County Road Superintendent. Our Highway Department is one of the largest departments in Coffee County government, with 640 miles of roads and bridges and budget of $3 million. It's time we start applying for grants. It's time we start using modern road building and maintaining techniques. Friends, it's time for a change. Vote Scott Hansard, Republican candidate for Coffee County Road Superintendent.
We teach Parkinson's patients how to move big and not let the Parkinson's slow them down. I've had patients I've treated in-house that could not even stand up, could not roll over in the bed, left the facility walking with a walker, have come back to us in outpatient and continued their big program and are now completely, handling life. The success of the program is just phenomenal.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Welcome back. On Tuesday, the local DAR chapter held a special ceremony for National Vietnam War Veterans Day at the Veterans Memorial Park next to the Caboose on Atlantic Street in Tullahoma. The event honored the service of all Vietnam War veterans and their families for the sacrifices they made for the nation during the Vietnam War. In this clip from the event, Tullahoma Mayor Ray Noyes addresses the crowd.
On behalf of the Tullahoma War Mayor, it's my pleasure, Mayor, to welcome everyone here today. But particularly, I want to welcome those Vietnam veterans that are in attendance today, and I see so many of you. Thank you. Thank you. I say that sincerely because, as all of you veterans know, when you return from your tour of duty, you are not always shown the greatest of respect. In fact, many of you will remember that you were shown outright disrespect. So this morning, I'd like to show these veterans that our utmost sincere respect and appreciation by giving them a great round of applause. When those young men that were 18 to 22 years old were asked to serve, many of them left young wives at the airport not knowing if they'd return. They went to fight in a war in a jungle halfway around the world. Over 58,000 never returned. Many of those who did return experienced chronic health issues that occurred from the effects of Agent Orange. Many still today are experiencing those health issues. Not only were men's lives lost in that war, 7,484 women, most of them nurses, were also lost. They're also remembered today. Nurses and medics treated more than 300,000 wounded soldiers in that war, and significantly higher rates of them experienced amputations. That's compared with World War II and Korean War veterans. So you too are exposed to those long-term ravages of Agent Orange. So today, we as citizens of Tullahoma salute all Vietnam veterans and sincerely thank you for your service. Thank you. At this time, I do have a proclamation that I'd like to present. Proclamation on behalf of the Governor of the State of Tennessee. This is from Bill Lee. whereas this year marks the 47th anniversary of the end of the American involvement in the Vietnam War, and whereas over 58,000 of the more than 3 million men and women who served in Vietnam made the ultimate sacrifice, 1,275 of whom were Tennesseans. 1,275 were Tennesseans. So whereas many of those who served in Vietnam are still missing, only now their family members and friends and fellow veterans continue to experience this uncertainty. And whereas Americans and Tennesseans will always honor the legacy of those who served over our country, were wounded, lost their lives in battle, and we can never, ever pay our debt of gratitude for the courage that they demonstrated. And whereas in 2008, the state of Tennessee enacted legislation to designate March 29th today as Vietnam Veterans Day, to honor those who served the country during this 20-year-long conflict. And whereas Tennessee is proud to be called the home of more than 160,000 Vietnam-era veterans. And whereas Vietnam War veterans is an opportunity to honor all Vietnam veterans and their families, recognizing the valuable contributions that they contribute to make leadership. And now, therefore, I, Bill Lee, Governor of the state of Tennessee, do hereby proclaim March 29, 2022 as Vietnam War Veterans Day, and witness thereof, Bill Lee, Governor. Ms. Toma, if you would come forward, I'd like to present you with the proclamation. And this you will find the proclamation that was presented by Bill Lee. Thank you, and thank you for your work.
More news is coming up in a moment.
It's not invoice. It's not MSRP. It's not Christmas Day, although it may feel like it. It's the lowest prices in Middle Tennessee, period. It's a Stan McNabb Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or Stan McNabb Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac before these prices are gone forever.
Friends, it's time for a change. Hello, I'm Scott Hansard, Republican candidate for Coffee County Road Superintendent. For over 35 years, I've built and maintained roads all over Middle Tennessee. I'm ready to put that experience and expertise to work for you as your Coffee County Road Superintendent. I know how to lead, and I know how to get things done. Friends, it's time for a change. Vote Scott Hansard, Republican candidate for Coffee County Road Superintendent.
Welcome back. Also at the Vietnam War Veterans event at Veterans Park, retired Colonel Sonny Sebren addressed the assembly.
Please welcome retired Colonel Sonny Sebren.
Thank you, Ms. C. First of all, a special thank you to you for serving as the Tullahoma Chapter's Veterans Coordinator. And thanks to the Elders of the American Revolution and the Tullahoma Chapter for continuing to remember those that served during the war. As some of you might remember, since March 29, 2017, we have met and to remember the Vietnam-era veterans at City Hall and at South Jackson Civic Center. But I think it's more fitting that we meet here at the Veterans Memorial. Because like those who are remembered here in this park and who served before us in the Spanish-American War, World War I, World War II, and the Korean War, we who served in Vietnam are a diminishing number. So thank you for showing up so the community can see a living testimony to those that served and died for the freedoms that God has so graciously blessed us with, and our nation's commitment to helping all peoples of this world to live in freedom as we do. Let me share a few memorable Vietnam War statistics, with this very humble caveat. You've already heard some. Some of my numbers are going to differ from what they said, but when I Googled, unfortunately, you get various numbers. So I picked the ones that were most consistent and hopefully truthful. 8.7 million GIs were on active duty during the Vietnam War, which represented 9.7% of our generation. 2.7 million, or 31%, of those that were on active duty served in Vietnam, or what we call in-country. 1.5 million, or 56% of those in-country, either fought in combat, provided support, or were at least fairly exposed to enemy attack. 58,148 were killed. 304,000 were wounded. And let us not forget 1,244 who are still missing in action. And ladies, and here's where we differ a little bit, Mayor. 7,484 women served. 6,250, or 83% of those, were nurses. 8 military women were killed, and 59 civilian women were killed, and 4 women were POWs. There were no stats on how many were wounded. 67% of those who served in Vietnam were volunteers, as opposed to 67% of those who served in World War II who were drafted. Approximately 70% of those killed in Vietnam were volunteers. Vietnam veterans were the best educated forces our nation had ever sent to combat. 79% had a high school education or higher. The average infantryman in the Pacific during World War II saw about 40 days of combat in 4 years. The average infantryman in Vietnam saw about 240 days in 1 year. The American military was not defeated in Vietnam. The military did not lose a battle of consequence. From a military standpoint, it was almost an unprecedented performance. 97% of Vietnam veterans were honorably discharged. Today, unlike when we returned home, 87% of Americans hold Vietnam veterans in high esteem. One final thought on the Vietnam War. Remember the domino theory? Briefly stated, if we didn't stop the spread of communism in Vietnam, it would spread throughout Southeast Asia, to the Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand. Well, because of you, they stayed free of communism. Just like the greatest generation stopped the spread of fascism and Nazism in World War II, and the current generation, which is fighting the spread of jihadism today. Which brings me to my closing remarks, which is a very familiar quote. We live in the land of the free only because of the brave. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who has given us the freedom of press. It's the soldier, not the poet who has given us the freedom of speech. It's the soldier and not the politicians who ensures our right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's the soldier who salutes the flag, who serves beneath the flag, and whose coffin is draped by the flag. God bless America. God bless the military, and God bless you. Thank you very much.
We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
MacArthur Manor Assisted Living is passionate about creating better experiences for our Manchester seniors. Our residents describe us in a few words.
Welcoming.
When you walk through the doors at MacArthur Manor, we'll treat you like family.
Caring.
Through high standards of personalized care, we help residents live life to its fullest.
Engaging.
With a wide range of life-enriching activities, there is something for everyone at MacArthur Manor. With our residents and staff now vaccinated, call us today to schedule your safe and personalized tour.
Hi, my name's Bobby Carter, and I'm asking for your vote in the Circuit Court Judgeship of Coffee County, 2nd Division. I grew up in Tullahoma. I attended the Citadel and the University of Tennessee Law School. After that, I served my country as an officer in the United States Navy JAG Corps. Since then, I've been a trial lawyer in Coffee County for the last 25 years. I feel that I have the legal and life experiences to protect the citizens of this county over the next 8-year term. I would appreciate your vote in the May 3rd Republican primary. Thank y'all.
I had a knee replacement, so they've got me in life care, which I'm very, very thankful for. I couldn't garden, I couldn't do my flower beds, I can't chase my little dogs. I have been in several therapy sessions for knees and back, and that's the best therapist I believe I've ever been to. It's tremendous because I'm able to walk again, but if it wasn't for the care, I wouldn't be where I am.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Welcome back. Concluding our coverage of the Vietnam Veterans Service, we hear from Sheila Sebron of the Daughters of the American Revolution about the event and the raising of the commemorative Vietnam flag.
We are in Tullahoma a commemorative partner. We have been since we had our first program in 2017. Many of you may have been at that presentation, that event. We definitely want to keep in mind that not only are we proud of the veterans, which we definitely are, we are also proud of their families. If you are a Vietnam veteran, would you please stand? If you are a family member who had someone who served in Vietnam, please stand or raise your hand. Thank you. If any of you have ever seen the movie In Country, based on a novel, you would know that it was not about the actual war, it was about the people who were left behind in the States. The Vietnam War Veterans Recognition Act of 2017 set March the 29th as the day to pay tribute to those who served in Vietnam and their families, because on March the 29th, 1973, the last U.S. troops were pulled out of South Vietnam. We didn't have all the support people out until the fall of Saigon in 1975. Yes, we did lose 58,000 Vietnam veterans during the war, and their names are on the black granite wall in Washington, D.C. If any of you have ever seen the Vietnam Wall, it is powerful. We lose today about 500 to 600 Vietnam veterans a day. Most of them, or many of them, are in care facilities because of ailments that came about through their service in one way or another. But we also want to make sure that we do pay tribute today to the Vietnam veterans for their service, their courage, and their sacrifice to try in a very small way to make up for the treatment many experienced when they came home, which was not a proper welcome, and that was almost 50 years ago. We thank all the co-hosts of this event, the City of Tullahoma, Lyle, for providing our sound and our podium, the mayor for speaking, the NSDAR Tullahoma chapter, of which I'm a member and many are members who are here, and the American Legion Post 43 who provided our chairs, and many other services. Thank you very much for coming, and please stay for the raising of the commemorative Vietnam flag.
Stay with us. Your weather forecast is coming up next.
MacArthur Manor Assisted Living is passionate about creating better experiences for our Manchester seniors. Our residents describe us in a few words.
Welcoming.
When you walk through the doors at MacArthur Manor, we'll treat you like family.
Caring.
Through high standards of personalized care, we help residents live life to its fullest.
Engaging.
With a wide range of life-enriching activities, there is something for everyone at MacArthur Manor. With our residents and staff now vaccinated, call us today to schedule your safe and personalized tour.
The individuals with dementia, those with Parkinson's, those that have maybe mobility issues, need caregivers. Well, those caregivers are 24 hours a day at home, and they never get a rest. And if they have to go to work, they're kind of out of luck. So that's why Trinity came into existence 25 years ago, to allow the caregivers to have a safe center where they could put their loved ones, know they would be well cared for, stimulated, fed good nutritious meals, have activities to their level, and then the caregiver can stop by and pick them up and go on home and have some continuity into their life.
Welcome back. We'll take a look at your weather forecast at this time, starting with your weather history on this day. Our record high was in 1953 at 85 degrees. The record low was in 1923 at 21 degrees. Average high on this day is 66 and the average low is 42. Partly cloudy weather expected tonight with a low of 37. Sunny weather in the forecast for Friday with a high of 57 and a low of 36, and mostly sunny weather expected on Saturday with a high of 63 and a low of 40. And that's our News Leader report for this evening. We invite you to join us each Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 6, 8, and 10 for News Leader on 6. You have a good evening.